to the Unscripted Podcast. Today I have an amazing guest with me, Alma.
Hi.
She is a track and field runner at the University of Pittsburgh, and today we're going to be talking about growth and resilience within the sport of track. So, thank you again so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I just want to start off by having you introduce yourself. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Alma and I run track at the University of Pittsburgh. I'm technically a short sprinter. I was recruited as a short sprinter, but I recently just was put in the 400 meters. So now I'm considered a long sprinter. And I originally lived in Arlington, Virginia, which is on the DC area. But I also come from Equatorial Guinea, which is a very small country in Africa. And I came here in like 2015. So I've been living here for already like 10 years. And yeah, and I've been running track I started track 8th grade. So I started late. And in 8th grade, I was also a little bit old in 8th grade. I was 15 years old, so I started track when I was 15. I don't know how many years I did, probably 8 years. Yeah. So yeah, I started track late, but now I'm here.
Yes, and that's interesting too because I also started track. I started track in 7th grade.
Yeah.
But what made you want to start track?
So growing up, I was always told that I was fast. Like I was always faster than a lot of boys. It's always like that story, like you're fast. Like so, I was like, okay. So in 7th grade, I was considering joining track, but I wasn't sure how to do it just because I was kind of still new in the country, and I was like, I don't know whether they would take me. But then I was like in 8th grade, I was like, let me just try it. Why not? And I tried it, and I liked it. I really enjoyed it. And then I started running it again in high school, and it took off from there.
So kind of going into just your journey with Pitt. So you did high school and then you continued your track career at Pitt.
Yeah.
What made you choose Pitt?
So Pitt was actually not my first option. So with Pitt, it was my dad that was like, you should try Pitt, because my dad, he studied in La Roche, which is a school here in Pittsburgh, and he always wanted like one of his kids to study in University of Pittsburgh, and he was like, why not try it? You never know. Yeah, and I was like, I don't think they would choose me. I'm not that good. So I had other offers, but they were like from smaller Division 1s or Division 3s, and I was like, I want to go in a Division 1 school. So I first committed to a school called Mount St. Mary's, which is in Maryland. It was closer to home. And they were the ones that gave me an offer to run track at their school. Like that was like the only Division 1 that gave me an offer. So I was like, okay, then I guess Pitt is not it. And then I was like, when I did the visit, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling the school. I was like, this is not my place. And I started to want to go to Pittsburgh to the point where I kind of dropped the offer, and I was like, I'm not going to go to school. I'm just going to commit to Pitt. And that was like, I committed before I was recruited. Yeah. So I was like, if I don't run track, that's fine. I will try to walk in on the track team, whatever. But then I started running better, and I took a chance, and I emailed the coach, and the coach emailed me back, and he was like, we would like to have you. And I'm
that
like,
is so great.
Yeah, it's like kind of worked out. Like, but I did, like for Pitt, I committed when, like June after graduation of high school. Yeah, because I was like again committed to Mount St. Mary's, but then I dropped that offer. I was like, I don't want to go there. Yeah, I felt so bad for the coach, but I was like, I gotta do what's best for me.
Exactly. Like sometimes you just have to do what's best for you.
Exactly.
And in that case, it was Pitt.
It was Pitt.
And I'm sure you're glad with that.
I'm actually super happy I did that, because I would have not seen myself there. I would have probably transferred to another school. I don't know if it would have been Pitt, but yeah.
So kind of bouncing off our theme of resilience and growth, I want to ask you, what were some challenges kind of transitioning from high school track to collegiate track?
Yeah, there was a lot of challenges, a lot of challenges. And the funny thing is, before I even before even starting track, I was watching a lot of videos of people that ran track at a Division I school, and the first thing that they mentioned was the hardest thing is in high school you're really recognized.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
Alma, la la.
Yeah.
And then you come to college and you're average. It's like nobody cares what you did in high school.
Yeah.
So that was a really hard transition because it was like I went from being so well known in high school to then becoming average in college and like being the slowest person almost in the sprints, like in the short sprint things. Because we had, how many girls? I had 4 girls that were in the team and then me, so it was 5 girls, and technically I was the slowest. And then practice became so much harder. Like in college, track, it's super demanding on the body. So it's like it was so awful my freshman year. Like I was always in the back, I was always struggling, I would always stop during the workouts. It's completely different than high school. And then like it's like you don't have that spotlight anymore. It's like now you gotta actually work hard for it. Yeah. So that was like super hard for me, the transition from high school to college, like the practice, the mentality, the confidence. I just started lacking all of that because I was like, this is hard. It was really hard. I almost quit the first day. I was like, I think I don't want to be this anymore. I'm good. But yeah.
And I think I definitely understand what you mean, because in high school it's like you make, like we call it whip wheels or regionals. You make whip wheels, you make regionals, your name is everywhere. Like everybody knows you. You know, like the best within your region. Yes. But then once you're outside of that, it's like, okay.
I know. And the same thing for me too in high school. Like for us, it's like it goes districts, regional, states, and like. For district, it was like, okay, like everybody knows me. Regionals, everybody knows me. States was like, okay, like I'm like, ooh. But still, I still had that confidence. Like I wasn't afraid of anybody.
Exactly.
But in college, it's like nobody knows you. They don't care what you did in high school. It doesn't matter, like at all. And that was like a really big shift for me. Yeah.
So were you able to deal with those challenges? What helped you kind of grow?
Yeah, so one thing that so my freshman year, I wasn't traveling a lot. Like my indoor, I remember I traveled, but I didn't go to certain big meets. And then my outdoor season, I only traveled twice with the team. And once you already travel, once you already competed, you can't redshirt anymore. So that was like very embarrassing for me because I knew that wasn't myself. Like I'm not like that. I was like, what's going on? Yeah. And I had a conversation, and this was like before one of the big meets, and my coach was like, this season is over. And during outdoor, and that was like in the middle. Everybody was still traveling, like not even close to being done with the season, and I was already done. Yeah. And he asked me, what is it that you want? Like why is it that you actually joined track? And he started telling me like the reasons of our other teammates. Yeah. And everybody had a purpose except me. And I was just sitting there and I was like, what the heck? Like yeah. And once I went home that summer, like I started just reflecting a lot, and I was like, it's either I come back and I suck again and have this bad feeling that I'm not good enough, or I just try to do better, like, or I just actually try to improve. Yeah. So that was like a big thing for me. Sophomore year compared to freshman year, like when I was leaving, I was like, okay, I gotta do better now. I can't come back and suck anymore. Like I have to do good. And that was something that conversation that I had with my coach, that was something that woke me up a lot, because it was like I lost my love for track. Like I was like, I don't even know why I'm doing it anymore. I'm just here to hang around because I know I'm a student athlete here, so why not hang around?
Yeah. And I like how you kind of talked to us how you kind of built that mental aspect of it, but how about the physical aspect?
So the physical aspect, okay, so with track, and this was something that my previous coach, because he's not with us anymore, he's at Clemson, but this was something that he always told us, that literally track is all mental. I'm not gonna lie, like literally the smallest part is physical, but you don't actually run with your body, it's like you run with your mind. Like if your mental is not at the right state, it's over. Like with my freshman year, I was always so negative to myself because I always had those doubts that I suck, I'm not good enough, everybody's faster than me. And when you start thinking this way, you actually start running that way. It's like your body will respond that way. So that was something that I had to shift. I was like, I have to build on the mental part. I have to stop talking negative to myself, and I have to stop being so afraid of doing a hard workout, and instead just embrace it and pretend that I actually like it. But even though I was like, I want this to stop, but that was something that I had to build in order for my physical to be there. Because if your mind is not there, the physical is not going to be there at all. It all goes together. Especially in college.
And also, I want to ask you on the physical aspect of putting effort into practice. The importance of that.
Oh yes, that is so important, because the way that you practice is the way that you run. And I can't emphasize this enough, because my freshman year again, because everything goes back to freshman year. Like my freshman year, it was like I was running at practice so bad. Like I was always behind. I wasn't hitting the times. And when a coach gives you a workout, it's for a purpose. It's like, hit these times in order to run this at a track meet. So if you're not hitting the times, you're gonna run something completely different. So that was something that's very important. So when I started learning that it's important to always hit the times, because when you see that you hit the times, you run what the coach expects you to actually run. Like not exactly what he expects you, but it's like you actually improve. So that is something very important, like in track and in college, especially literally just putting all you can. Like it doesn't matter, even though it's hard, it is very taxing on the body, but you get used to it too. Like once you've done it once, twice, you can do it again. That's what I always tell myself.
So practicing and making sure that you put that effort into practice is kind of going to help you with that consistency.
Yes, for sure. Oh my God, that word, consistency. Consistency. Our coach right now is always emphasizing on consistency, because when you run consistent, you stay consistent. Like you do this at a track meet, especially with starts. Like I don't know are you a sprinter? It's like when you start getting used to actually getting out properly at a track meet, it comes naturally because you've just been consistent with it. So our coach is always stay consistent with everything you do, even throughout the harder days, staying consistent, because it's going to show on the track, because it just comes it starts coming naturally. That's the whole point.
Because you kind of get into that routine, so you don't have to think about it. Your body just
naturally does it. Exactly. You stop thinking about it. At first you're gonna think about it, but then it just starts going away. It's your body is just doing it. You're not even realizing it.
Exactly. And if you don't put that effort into practice, then you can't expect yourself to automatically do that.
Exactly.
And that's when it counts. So I definitely agree. So I kind of want to switch gears a little bit and go into how you balance academics and track at the same time. So I want to ask you, what do you major in?
I'm majoring in finance, which is something I forgot to say. Yes, I'm majoring in finance.
Do you like it?
I like it so far. I'm definitely of course I wouldn't want to go in another school. I feel like the business school definitely fits me, and I'm more of a math person. So it was either accounting or finance, which I'm starting to think that I like accounting more than finance. But I like finance so far. It makes sense, and it applies to what I want to do career-wise. So so far, so good. Yes.
So kind of going off that, I know that for me personally, after practice, I don't want to go and do homework because it's already going to be late. I'm physically tired. And how do you get that motivation to really balance it?
It's hard. Sometimes, honestly, I feel like with high school, it's like, once you're done with practice, you don't have classes afterwards. So you get to come home and then chill. With with collegiate sports, most athletes, we take classes at night. We don't really have classes in the morning because that's dedicated that's for, our sports. So it kind of, for me, at least, the way that I started seeing it was like, after practice, I have no choice. Otherwise, if I don't attend class, I'm failing. So it was like, okay, I go to class, and now after class, I immediately try to find a space in school where I can just do my homework. Because if I go home, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it. Like in high school, I feel like I used to be better at doing it after practice. But here, like you mentioned, it's like exhausting. Like it's like, but this year, something that I've done different was definitely like after class, I just will find a space and just start working on my homework. Because my freshman year again, and then last year too, one of the mistakes that I used to do is after class, I'll immediately just go home. And when you're at home, it's like, you just don't want to, it's like, I'm not gonna look at this, like, But, and then I was doing so bad in school, like my freshman year, and and my fall semester of sophomore year, because I wasn't focusing on doing my homework. But this semester, I just kind of had to set aside, the laziness and what's it called? How do you call when you overthink?
I know what you're talking about.
It's I'm forgetting the word right now, but I kind of had to push that away and just kind of force myself to go to a room, a building in school, and just do my homework. And then I'll come back at 11 p.m., which is not good, but then it's the best feeling because after that, I just go home and I sleep. that was just my schedule. But I'm just not gonna go to freshman year method anymore. That was called laziness.
It's just the growth. It's just in the progress.
Exactly.
But you kind of already answered this question, but what does a day in the life of a student athlete look like?
Oh, it's so busy. I only answered a little bit of the part, but it's so busy. I'm telling you, almost no time for yourself. For us, it's at least for track athletes, normally in the fall, we have fall conditioning, and then we have our season. During fall conditioning, it's a little bit more chilling because we don't have track meets, anything, but it's still pretty demanding just because we still have practice, and then practice sometimes can take around 2 hours, and then we have lift, and that can take around 1 hour, and then we start going to class. But literally most of our days is occupied by practice, and then the night is classes. So it's you really don't have
time for yourself.
Exactly, any in between. But it's super demanding. I feel I say because I'm always busy. I'm literally always busy. But also when you're a freshman, when I was a freshman, so what Pitt requires and a lot of schools require is that you have to take study hours, which they give you because you're a new student athlete and they want to make sure that you're doing good in school. So they have this building for athletes, for freshmen and anybody that just wants to study there, and they make us we have to complete those 6 hours within a week.
Wow.
Yes, 5 for freshmen.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was almost difficult my freshman year because it was so hard finding time. Because we also had lives outside of track as well, so that was a little bit challenging. But once you get a certain GPA, you don't have to do those anymore. So after those, you kind of just have to find when you're gonna study, when you're gonna do your homework and stuff like that. But other than that, literally my day is literally all practice, school, homework,
Sleep.
Exactly, like nothing so fancy.
Yeah.
That's literally just our lives. And then when we're traveling is so tricky because when you're traveling, because we travel on Fridays, so we try not to schedule classes on Thursdays and Fridays because those are the days when we travel. So our days are literally occupied like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, it's like classes accumulated.
A bunch of classes.
Exactly, and then you travel and then you come back and then it's like legitimate the same routine again.
But it's fun.
Right? It is fun. It's fun, but it's exhausting, but it's fun. And I wouldn't change it for anything actually. I actually like it because it keeps me busy.
And it keeps you like feeling productive.
Exactly. I can't imagine myself being a regular student. The amount of time that they have. Yeah. I'm sometimes jealous, but I'm like, I don't know what I would do with that time, honestly. Yeah. So I'm glad that it's like this for me.
If you had any advice for a student athlete that might be struggling to kind of manage their time or build that time management routine, what advice would you give them?
Stay organized. Honestly, I learned that the hard way. I used to not write my schedule before. I used to keep everything in my head. But this year, it got like, this year I was always so busy that I was like, I need to start writing it down. I can't just keep it in my head because I will forget. So definitely like finding a way to kind of keeping it like somewhere and seeing your schedule. It truly helps with like staying on time with everything, school, track. If you have like touring appointments, because I have a lot of touring appointments, I have a lot of meetings. So I try to always keep that like organized. I'm like, okay, I have this time, I have that, stuff like that. But definitely writing it down or on your computer, just.
I think that's something I need to work on because I always keep things in my head. Yes. And it's starting to get difficult. So I definitely have to.
In college, that method doesn't work. Definitely writing it down or just on the computer. Whichever way works, I don't know. But just keep it somewhere.
So kind of changing gears, kind of going to something that's like the better side and your favorite parts of collegiate track. So what's one of your favorite parts of the team?
I will say my teammates, honestly. Like, I think like my teammates make it more fun to come to practice. But yeah, like I would say them. Like the competing side, I like competing. The only thing is like, sometimes I don't really like to think about, I have a track meet. I just forget about it. And then like, I tend to do much better when I'm not thinking too much about the track meet. But I definitely love being around my teammates. Like every day, I always look forward to seeing them. Even the coaches, because our coaches are so much fun. Like, like even though like they can be a little bit strict, but it's like, they make it a fun environment. So that's very like helpful when you're surrounded by people that you like being around. So it's like it makes you also want to work harder as well. So that's definitely the fun part of track. Like you just get to be around your teammates because your teammates actually just become your friends. Because being a student athlete in college, especially Division I, it's so hard to maintain friendships because different schedules, and it makes it so hard to try to see each other, stuff like that. Like I barely see my friends outside of track, but like my friends that are like my teammates are literally my friends. And that's all I can say. So that's the fun part because I get to hang out with them every day.
And I think that's fun. I always say that if you don't have good teammates, if you don't have a good team, you're not going to enjoy track.
Exactly. You're just not. You're genuinely not.
Because you're already struggling. You have to do the pyramid, whatever it is. You do the workout. And then you don't have anybody else there. It's kind of just like...
Exactly. It's so,
you have to have you have to enjoy it. You can't be like... I don't know how to explain. You can't just be by yourself.
And there has been a lot of situations where people quit because of those reasons, where they just don't feel the environment. they're not fitting, or they just transfer because they don't feel like they're part of the family, or they just don't feel like they're getting better because they don't fit in. So stuff like that. So that's very, very important. I guess I've seen a lot of people quit because of that. A lot.
So kind of going into the direction of other people that might be interested in going into Division 1 track, and just kind of going into that track of becoming a student athlete, how would you say they can facilitate that process or transition from high school to college?
Meaning that, like, how can you reach out to the coaches, or so I definitely would say email them. I used to use, I don't know if this is still a website, but I used to use the NCSA. Do you know it? It's still a thing. Okay, yeah, I used to use that, and that was something that really helped me because that was a way that I was able to reach out to Coach Hester, which was our previous coach, and he then texted me. He was like, okay, but I that's what I used. But you can email, whichever way works, but. And like the I forgot the name. I actually forgot the name.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but that, and honestly, just staying patient as well. I actually forgot how the recruiting process in high school is because they changed it.
They have. Yeah.
They changed it, and I was so surprised because I think you can reach out as a junior now.
Yeah, you can.
When I was in high school, I could only reach out when I was in. Well, actually, I could reach out when I was in junior. I just couldn't do any visits when I was a junior. I had to wait when I was a senior and stuff like that. So it kind of restricted coaches from reaching out to me. But I will also say, stay patient, honestly, because I was so impatient. I was like, when is it going to be my turn? When are they going to reach out to me? Like, why is it that I can't commit to a school that I want to?
Yeah.
But honestly, like, literally just being patient, like, everything will work out. Like, and if you just continue to reach out and show interest, they will respond. Because the first time when I reached out to Pitt, they didn't respond. Like, the coach saw it, and you know how, like, on that website you can see that the coach read it? I could see that he read it, but he left it open. Yeah, I was like, yeah, no, never again. I'm never reaching out to them again. And then I reached out again, and then I reached out the third time, and I reached out the fourth time, and the fourth time they replied. Yeah, so it kind of, it worked out that way. So I would just say, literally staying patient, and just not keep bothering them, but keep bothering them a little bit. I don't know if coaches like that. But they are also very busy. Don't reach out during season. Okay. They probably won't see it. Reach out probably around like fall time, which is like, I guess, September, October, November, around those times, or even in the summer. And whenever they can reach out right now, because I don't know when they can reach out, but around those times, but definitely not in season because their heads are not in.
Finding people.
Yeah, it's like because they're so focused on, okay, we gotta get the athletes right, exactly. So no, like if you're reaching out in season, don't do that.
And one of my last questions on advice, I want to ask for students who might be going in, who are already committed to a school that are going into their freshman year as athletes. What advice could you give them?
Oh my God, this is my favorite thing. I would say honestly, I would just say, again, be patient. I don't know, like I had a conversation with a freshman about this because she was really scared because she was like, I heard fall conditioning is difficult, and I was like, the first thing that I would say definitely is don't think about that it's difficult. Literally, like, just honestly embrace it and just see it as a way to get an opportunity to get better. Because that's the way that I started seeing it now. So I don't really see it as difficult, but more as a chance to get better. And I'm here, I'm literally a student athlete. That was a dream of mine. So literally just staying grateful, even when it hurts, even when you feel like you want to quit. Just literally patience and staying strong.
True. Determination.
Determination for sure. Staying determined. like determinated. Is that the word?
Yeah, having determination.
Yeah.
So I think that concludes the questions.
Yay!
But before we end, I wanted to play a little game.
Of course.
Because I always do a game with all of the people that I have on my podcast. And so today I'm going to do a game that's like Finish the Line, Track Athlete Edition. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to start a sentence and then you can finish it with whatever you would say fits you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is before every race I always talk to myself. Like,
I always tell myself positive things. Like, I always tell myself, you got this, you've been here before, faith over fear, let God do all of it. Like, yeah, that's me. And before every race, I always have to talk to myself.
And I think that's important because if you start having those negative thoughts, you're going to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like gonna consume you, and that's what you're gonna think during the race. But I learned that definitely self-talk helps me stay calm, relax, and just go. Because I've done that before already. I've done it so many times.
Yeah. The second one is the best feeling after a race is
when you PR.
Yes.
I'm like, you know what it is? You see the time you're like, oh my God, I can breathe. Even if you do bad in the other event, it's like, I PR'd. It's the best feeling.
It's always you against you.
Yeah, seriously.
If I wasn't running track, I'd be...
If I wasn't running track, I'd probably just be a dancer. This is like, I don't know, because I love to dance. I've always loved to dance. And I always wanted my father to put me in a dance school, but he was like, we never see you dance. And I'm like, what do you mean? But I love to dance. So I feel like I could be a dancer.
A dancer, yeah.
Maybe. Or a model. I don't know.
You honestly could be a model.
Oh, thank you.
So the hardest workout I've ever done was
stadiums. This is, oh my God, freshman year and sophomore year. This was horrible. If Darren was here, he would have told you how horrible that workout was for me. That was terrible. Like it was like, I don't know how to describe it. There were like really long stairs that are there in Pitt, and we would do it with like our previous coach, and that was just a terrible workout. I used to cry. I used to stop every rep, and I thought that last year I was gonna get better because I was like, okay, different me, different mindset. Psych. I was dying. So stadiums for sure.
Okay.
For sure. Those stadiums, not any other stadiums, but those specifically.
If I could only listen to one song before a race, it would be...
I don't really... Wait. Okay, can I say my favorite band? I would say Novo Amor, which is a band, they're originating from England, and they just make like very slow music, and sometimes like out of track meet, I just like to listen to something very slow. Like that's just me. Like I just like to treat track meets like if I'm just
doing anything.
Exactly. Like I don't try to make it seem like something super huge. So I would say Nova Home just because I normally listen to that on my regular days anyways.
Yeah. That's sweet. Okay. And then my last question I have is a lesson I learned from track that applies to life is
discipline. Like I was disciplinary a lot because like with track is you have to be so disciplined that it like applies into real life. Like everything we do, literally like, I don't know, like the decisions that I made my freshman year because of track affected me in school. So that was something that I kind of had to like learn how to do. So this year I kind of like had to tell myself to be more disciplined, and then started translating to school as well. So for sure discipline.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it.
Oh,
Thank you so much again for joining us on our podcast episode. This was a great episode.
yes.
And I think it's really inspiring. Your story's inspiring.
Thank you.
And Thank you everyone for tuning into the podcast. We will be posting another episode the Sunday after next. And thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you so much. Thank you.